You're listening to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast, the show with a light-hearted look at the eventing world, all of the big event previews, reviews, and special guests, and of course, backed up with all of the key Echo Rating stats. Welcome to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast. Welcome to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast, and it is a weekend review show. God, it feels a long time since we've done one of these. We had not one, but two big international competitions this weekend just gone in Carolina International in the US and also Wandin Park in Australia. And to look back on everything that unfolded, two of my favourite people, I will start by saying, how was your weekend, Georgia Patrick?
Oh, my weekend was full of eventing and very lovely, thank you.
Good. Dee, how was yours?
Yeah, lovely. Good weather. That kind of, spring has very much sprung. Eventing is back. Nice weekends are back. Still a bit limited in terms of what I'm able to do, but certainly improving all the time, Nicole. I feel like we're on an upward trajectory here, and the return of eventing played a good role in that. I enjoyed it. Good weekend.
It did. I'll take your upward trajectory and say I'm somewhere in the stratosphere because we are in a house. We are in a house, people. We are not in the caravan. It is like a different world. I can't even begin to say, if you're just catching up on this, I have lived in a caravan for the last 18 months while we renovated a house and we moved in a week ago, and it feels like heaven. So there we go.
How many times a day would you say you tell me how happy you are? 4
Probably
times,
a dozen.
I'd say.
Yeah,
at least 4 every day. Heidi, I just can't believe how great it is. Oh, I just can't believe it. So
do you know what? It's literally like a different world. Ol and I will go around and just like pick up tiny little things that nobody else would have noticed, but made a massive difference in the caravan to being in the house. And we'll just discuss these things in minute detail. It's just amazing. It's an absolute pleasure. And I got to watch Carolina on a big screen rather than tiny little ones. So it was just brilliant. So anyway, that's me. I could go on about being in a house for a long period of time, but nobody needs that. Let's talk about this weekend because we had, where should we start? Carolina. Should we start there? We had Eventing Manager. We had Horse and Country Plus coverage throughout the weekend, which I believe you can go back and watch if you missed any of it and you want to relive it. And I think let's start with our winner, Dee, Will Coleman, off the record. The horse that actually finished third at Tattersall's in the long format in 2019, had a bit of time off, was back, and he was the only person to finish on his dressage score. We talked about it on the preview show that the time was going to be tight again, and it was.
Yes. Georgia will probably be able to go into a little bit more detail on it, but she's shaking her head saying, tell me she won't, but I know she will. I'd say it played out reasonably I think it played out reasonably as we expected it to play out, didn't it? I think you were slagging me about my prediction before that we'd have a lot of people not quite breaking the record, but, in that new group, somewhere between 20 and 27. I think that worked out reasonably to par. Let's talk about the big news. Hang on. Before we go talk about Will Coleman making the time, and look, that's how you win Carolina, kind of like Chatsworth in the UK. If you can be fast enough and you can deliver a fairly good dressage because so few people make the time. And it turns out it's one of those hard Carolina years, which this year was. You're very likely to win, or you're certainly likely to be very, very close. The big news happened before it. The favourite came out. Diarm and Georgia running is a massive, has a massive impact on the competition. Whether Diarm and Georgia would have been fast enough, I think is a question that you could legitimately ask. It looked like Georgia might be able to check. Georgia, in terms of top speed percentages or any of our speed metrics, if we were to look at because off the record is a fast horse anyway, so he was always going to be able to make a mark here. But I just wonder what do we think in terms of could Dinero Z have still won? I know Dinero Z made the time here last year, but so did Fernhill by Night.
Yeah.
And so did a lot of people. Yeah, so did a lot of people. So I think that's definitely one to look at. Anything on that, GP?
So Off the Record didn't come here in our kind of top 5 of the fastest horses.
Okay.
But I also was looking at his record, and of the last, he's done 7 4-stars, so long or short, and has made the time in 4 of them.
Okay.
And only added less than 3 time penalties on 2 of the other occasions.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a fast horse. I would say, to be fair, the big news was Dinero Z didn't come forward to dressage. It isn't anything serious, a foot abscess, wrong time. And unfortunately, it just means that he wasn't able to compete this weekend. I'm sure we'll see him in the next few weeks as part of their build up to Kentucky. I don't think we can let that take away from what was a very, very classy performance from Off the Record. And I think he was superb in all 3 phases. Cross country, he was class over what was a toughie and stark track with a tough time. He was the only person to make it. 1 or 2 others came close, but he was the only one to stop the clock under. And I would say he heads to Kentucky as his big 3-day this spring. And I will just put it out there.
Go for it, Nicole.
He's got a great record. Watch for him for a top 5 finish in Kentucky. And if he does, then just put him in there as a dark horse for the Tokyo selection for the US team.
Top 5. Hang on, you really toned that down. So just before we came on air, Nicole goes, you know what? Will Coleman and Off the Record. I'm going to say this on the air. I think that they could win Kentucky.
I never said win. I never said that we would. I said they went to Kentucky with a great
they
shout.
have an outside chance to win.
Outside chance to win. Okay, outside chance to win. I think she definitely toned it down a bit. Top 5. I think that's, more importantly, you were saying get them on the plane to Tokyo.
I was saying that they could be about to throw themselves into a very competitive position because they beat some very good horses this weekend. Now, he's never been to 5-star level. It's a totally different kettle of fish, but he's a fast horse. He's a real cross-country horse. Just watch this space. Great show jumper. Dressage is improving all the time. Has put in that 21 point something at Great Meadow last year. We weren't sure if that was a bit of a sort of an outlier, but he backed it up with another 20s dressage this weekend. So not quite in the same level, but still a very, very good starting score. And I just think, watch this space. He also continues the trend that no winner of Carolina has knocked a pole in the show jumping because he jumped clear in that phase as well. So just look, Off the Record, class in all 3 phases, great results, and delighted for Will. Absolutely delighted for him.
I think they're underrated. Only 10% or 9% of people had them in their eventing manager team, but when you look through their record here, GP, 83% OBP, 100% XCJ10 with a 29 adjusted, plus 29 adjusted. So what that's telling us is they've jumped clear. So 100% XCJ10, they've jumped clear in 10 of their last 10 cross-country jumping rounds at international level, but they've done it on reasonably difficult tracks. So plus 29% is not insignificant by any stretch. 90% top speed rating. Show jumping adjusted is a minus 1.97. So I think they've got loads going on here. 6RA of 30.9. Maybe that could come down a little bit, but it has just come down like 27.5 this weekend. Was it somewhere in that region? So you know what, Nicole? I think I might join you. Get them on the plane.
Yeah, come and join.
Get them on the plane.
Come and join. Yeah, okay. I just think very, very classy, and went in, delivered in very good company this weekend in a tough track. So yeah, Will Coleman Off the Record, and actually he was one of 5 combinations who go into the top 10 best dressage scores at Carolina. I pulled your leg slightly when you made that prediction that we would have a lot not quite break Cooley Cross Borders record with Kim Severson from 2018, I think it was, but plenty went into the mid sort of 20 range, and we had 5 scores go into the top 10 best scores we've ever seen at Carolina in the first phase. So do you know what? Credit to Will Coleman, and it was a tough competition. The other one I would just want to ask about, Georgia, Fernhill by Night, Liz Halliday Sharp. When Dinero Z was pulled out of the competition, he obviously was the defending champion, won in 2019. And he started his competition brilliantly and went out on the cross country as the leader after the first 2 phases, but just wasn't quite quick enough in that tough time.
Yes, he certainly came in having actually only a speed rating of 3.7, which for a field in a class like this in a venue that we knew time would be tough, it was always going to be a question mark over his head.
And unfortunately, he just wasn't quick enough. Like, he left everything out there. He gave Liz a super ride, but just wasn't quite quick enough. And it meant that she actually lost the win, which was frustrating for her, I've absolutely no doubt. Dee, I'm going to pass over to you for just a second. I'm going to go and scoop my toddler up out of his cot. So I'm going to listen in for a minute. But listeners, this is the reality.
I'm in control.
Monday.
Yeah, okay. Go on. You go. Okay, GP. It's just down to us now to get to review
I'm
this.
still here.
No,
I'm still here.
You go on mute. We've got this now, okay? Okay, GP. Here's some interesting things I've been looking at. Prediction Center. Go on to Prediction Center there. Posted dressage. So let's talk about it. Firstly, who did we have as our favourites pre-competition? We had, let's see, pre-competition, it was De Niro Z. So that's why it was such big news for him to come out. Fernhill by Night second. Van Dever third. Will Coleman fourth.
And still actually coming in with an 8% chance. So certainly wasn't an outsider for the win.
Yeah, exactly. Then dressage happened. So it got updated. Now, post-dressage, the big winner of the day was probably Philip Dutton and Carlton. Now, I think we knew already. I don't know how we knew, but we had a text early on Saturday, I think, to say that he wasn't intending to run fast. Maybe he had said it somewhere. So we probably knew. I mean, Carlton certainly performed
His
in the
win percent chance came up by 17%, so certainly was the biggest, and Fernhill by Night by 16%.
I suppose we probably knew, though, like, as in what I'm trying to say is, yes, both of those were big jumpers, but big jumpers in terms of the likely win chances, but we knew Carlton wasn't going to go fast from what Philip was saying. So it was really a question at this point as how quick is the time going to be? I think I said to you at this point, look, Will Coleman is the most likely winner because it has to be, provided it's a speed test. Every so often we see with Carolina, it's a speed test, and if it's not. But at this point, it was Fernhill by Night 35%, Carlton 21%, and then Will Coleman 15%. Colleen Rutledge had moved up to 8% now at this stage in fourth. Then we get to the show jumping. Liz is now 50-50 to win, and Will Coleman is 21%. Everyone else has dropped back a little bit. And then cross country, we know Will Coleman goes and wins. So it was, I mean, Liz was favourite going in across her 2 horses. She was still favourite across her 1 horse. She was still favourite before we went. But Fernhill by Night on a very tough time. It's probably all played out reasonably to par. So yeah. I think it was a big success. How did you get on Prediction Center? How did you get on Eventing Manager?
Well, I mean, you're asking me, that I won the Eck Ratings Team League.
So, yeah, but in the bigger, I mean, yeah.
Because usually it's not me.
You did win our league. Let me just go and check your team now. Let me see. Featured leagues. Hang on. Friends leagues, that's where we are. Eventing... No, not the Eventing Podcast. The Eck Ratings Team League. Okay. Matt Flynn, Will Coleman on Don Dante, Alyssa Wallace and Doug Payne. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Who did I have? Oh, I had Bobby. Doug. We all picked Doug. Everybody was on Doug this weekend.
Sorry,
You back?
I'm back. There might be a toddler cameo in a second, but I'm back.
We were just talking about Georgia.
My successful win.
Your successful win. I think I came like 578th in Eventing Manager overall. It was a fairly dire performance.
Friend of the show won it. Did you see that? Nadine Haley Brown.
Great job, Nadine. Who do we owe? The Eventing Podcast League prize was a video from the winner, which is Will Coleman with the brilliant hair. So who do we owe that video to? Is that Nadine Haley?
Nadine Haley Brown, yeah.
Nadine will get on that for you. Okay. Doug Payne, just quickly before we move on, 3 inside the top 10. Did he have?
Yeah.
And actually, both of his young horses sort of showed Van Diver a thing or two, which was very exciting for him. So yeah, that's exciting. I think we might get him on the show at some point in the build up to Kentucky. We will collar him.
Yeah, those horses coming through for him. I've been saying it for a while. They are exciting horses. He's a great string developing there.
Star Witness, of course, has had the championship experience when he went out to Lima, Peru, and did the Pan Ams.
And American Games. Absolutely, she's really smart. Okay. Carolina was a success. I loved having a live stream. I loved playing Eventing Manager. I hope everybody else did too. Should we talk Wandin Park? Because Georgia, we did the preview show with Sarah Clark, and it was quite fun, didn't you find, digging into some of these combinations that we weren't as familiar with?
No, it was really exciting, and actually to be able to see an upcoming star coming through and having him at the top of our prediction centre and to see it play out through the weekend was exciting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Samuel Jeffrey, who won at 4-star short level for the first time, actually finished on a score of 45, but took the top spot ahead of friend of the show, Sarah Clark, LV Balugine. So the top 2 were the top 2 in the prediction centre. Sarah did have her foot down on the cross country. Anybody listening to the preview show know that she was going to go for it, and she absolutely did. Jeans was superb, just not quite quick enough. But they finished as second, and then ahead of Hayley Freelick and Dunedin Black Watch, who were a late addition to the class, finished in third. But yeah, and if you
this horse he's going to be good, isn't he? This
really nice, yeah. Lily. Woodmount Lolita, yeah.
Lolita. I was just looking at her record, and they won at Wandin a couple of years ago. I suppose you probably discussed all this on the preview show, but they won the 2-star short in 2019 there. Quite a nice record. Like, last 4 internationals is third at Adelaide in the 3-star long. And then, let's see, they won their last 3-star long at Tonnenbuck in Victoria. That was kind of March last year. Then obviously a year, nothing, and they step up to 4-star, and they've come second at Tonnenbuck in March, and then they've gone on to win here at Wandin. Like, yeah, she is on fire, I would say.
She's a very, very good cross-country horse, and she's had 2 4-star short runs now and been second and first. So really classy. Yeah. Shout out for the 3-star long, Wendy Schaefer McDonald, who was on the Atlanta special. Sunquest topped the podium. Sarah Clark, again, friend of the show, who was on the preview show, actually had to withdraw. She was gutted. She was in second after the first 2 phases, had to withdraw going into the show jumping with Cassage. But David Middleton actually took the other 2 spots on the podium in second and third. And big news that Usman Khan, Kashir, do get a qualifying result at 3-star long format, so they can now head to a 4-star long format in the hope of securing that Olympic qualification for Pakistan. So that's exciting. Oh, I love eventing. I love it so much. I'm so happy it's back. It just feels so good to be on a review show and to talk about everything that happened. And it's just great. Let's talk about something else that happened back end of last week, Dee, because the European Championships has been confirmed for Avanche in Switzerland.
It's exciting. I'm looking forward to this now. We're settled now, kind of. We know what's happening. I think last time we did our kind of year preview, we weren't really sure, were we? There was still a level of like, should be, could be. And we certainly didn't know where we were going. Avanche.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's settled. I'm glad it's in the book.
And it means that we still get a Buccolo as well, because obviously Buccolo was in the running too. Buccolo and Montelibretti were both in the running as well. And the fact that it is in Avanche means that Buccolo will still get the long format, which will be quite exciting in October. And yeah, it just feels like, a bit of light at the end of the 2021 tunnel.
I can see it, I must say. I can see the light now for the first time. And it's all bright and dazzling. It's great. We're on track. Can't wait. Will
And
Coleman's
I think
gone
talking
to Spain.
about the exciting one being that Bicton has also got that 4-star long,
Oh,
Yeah.
which I think sort of
well
settles
done,
the
yeah.
British.
Yeah, so Bramham has been relocated, obviously, because all of the classes. So there was a long format 4-star, an under 25s 4-star long format, and then the short format 4-star. So 3 really big, important classes is now going to Bicton. And Bicton is, it will be the first time they've hosted a 4-star, but they're massively, massively popular, and they always do a superb job. So that's exciting.
I'm just looking at Osby here, but I would agree with you. It is exciting, yeah.
Dee getting distracted because today all of the action on Horse and Country Plus from Osby, from our first big event in Britain. It is elite only, so being done under new rules because of the whole current situation, so it's all within government guidelines. But yeah, basically the who's who of eventing is out at Osby.
Looking through the list, and I couldn't believe kind of who was there. I was going through and like, big name, big name, big name.
It's
Any
just
update? Any
know,
update on
5
scores
star.
there, GP? I think did Ballamore class
You're the
do a
one
20?
watching it, aren't you?
No, I'm not watching it. I'm working. I'm just watching.
I think
the fact that it's
Ballamore class did a 20.5, but Ros Cantor and Lordships Graffalo went and did like a 19.8.
Oh,
It
get them on the plane.
Yeah.
I think we'll let that one try a 5-star first.
Yeah, exactly. And then Brookfield Innocent did a sub 20. I mean, this is only an open intermediate. It's the first event of the season. A lot of them are apparently very fresh. So there's some very, very excitable ponies.
The Capo is currently leading
pretty fresh as well. Who is
Capo's
three?
The Capo with a 23.4, which would be nice for it.
Okay.
What class is that?
Section
All
A.
OI.
It's all OI, and then there's
All
different
OI.
sections.
Yeah. So it's exciting.
Did we say Brookfield Innocent's 19.8?
Yeah, sub 20.
Yeah, she did.
Cool. Very exciting. It's good to have eventing back.
What's coming out this week, Nicole? Have we got any good shows?
Oh, we have got. We've got a couple of good ones, but I'll start with saying the Wednesday show is a Horses to Watch show for the year, which is great, very exciting. But Friday, listeners, just you wait for Friday, because there is a very, very, very big show coming out. Big news. I don't know how much we can say, Dee. Should we give like a little teaser?
Teaser for Friday. Trying to work out what is coming out on Friday.
Who the sponsored by?
We just spent the last 40 minutes discussing various things.
That show. That show. Yeah, that's great. It's a big show. It's a new partner joining the Eventing podcast stable, and they're starting off with some of the big guns. So yeah. It is. It's a big old show. And that's Friday. What's Wednesday? Horses to Watch for the year.
Horses to Watch, yeah, for the year.
Who's on it? Am I on that one? I think I did a Horses to Watch.
I think so. Do you know what?
I'm on it as well.
Twice this week. To be really organised and actually recorded Horses to Watch weeks ago. And then it hasn't fitted into the schedule yet. So we even had to put a little disclaimer at the beginning that basically said, we're really sorry, but we recorded this before badminton was cancelled. So
God.
It's one of those. But yeah, so that will be out this week. And then on Friday
the big Friday show.
Yeah, big Friday show. Guys, I'm going to go and scoop up my toddler.
Go on, Chacha. Well done.
Yeah.
Happy welcome back to the reviews of the eventing weekends. Isn't that super? We're back.
Oh, it feels good. Listeners, we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. And stay tuned. Lots coming up. If you haven't already, don't forget actually that you can still be in with a chance of winning an Equilume Casual Light Mask worth nearly €700. It's an amazing prize. It's our Listener of the Month prize. So all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is to comment, share, or review the Eventing podcast across any of our social media platforms. Basically, the more times you do it, so the more comments you make, the more entries you get. You can enter as many times as you like, but if you engage with the show, then you'll be in with a chance of winning. Bit of a thank you from us to you to say thank you very much for all of the support. And it's a massive prize. And it's been going down very well. So do get involved. GPD, thank you both very, very much. Listeners, we will be back later in the week. Stay tuned. Lots coming your way. But for now, Weekend review is over. Eventing is back. God, it feels good. Thank you for listening to the Echo Ratings Eventing podcast. This podcast is available for free on iTunes, Spotify, Podcast Addict, or wherever you usually listen to your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Find us at eventingpodcast.com or search Eventing Podcast on social media.